Hey, Kitty Girls, it's Sunday, June 8th, 2025, and welcome to Comes Out Loud Drag Race T-Time, Season 10 of All Stars, Episode 2 for us. Thanks for joining us for a little podcast shindig here. We're going to be discussing the most recent 3 episodes from All Stars Season 10, which happened to be 8 Ball, Rappin' Roast, and Starrbooty the Rebooty. And for those of you that don't know, my name's Gary, and with me is my ever fabulous co-host.
Hello, everyone. It's Damon. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Oh.
Something like that.
Yeah. Should we get into this second bracket of the tournament?
We should.
Before we
all have something. Go ahead.
No, before we get in, I do want to make a comment. Production really kind of screwed themselves. Like, they decided to do a tournament with a bracket thing and then didn't really think about how brackets work. So I caught at the beginning of this last episode, they put a graphic up of the bracket, and I was like, wait, what? And like, I had to freeze frame it. I almost screenshotted it because I just wanted to point out the lunacy of it. Because, like, I think the purple bracket is repeated twice. Because, like, in a traditional bracket, there would be 4 quadrants. And then, like, the tops from each of the 4 quadrants come towards the center, and then the tops of those come to the center again. Like, so it's very progressive, and because there's 3 teams, like, the whole thing is just jacked. So, anyways, there's a graphic later where they show who's progressing, like, from each bracket. But anyway, so, yeah, it's just, it's a hot mess. So don't expect anything really... like, don't think you can understand what they're doing.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, let's jump into our first segment.
Racers, start your engines, and may the best drag queen win.
Is it really the best drag queen? Anyways.
You had to quick. I had to confirm.
I'm just calling it out.
Hold on. This is my actual one for this show.
So, yeah, our first segment is Put the Pedal to the Metal. This is split into 3 subsections. We give out serves for the positive things, swerves for the negative things, and nerves could be positive, could be bad. Like, it's usually, like, really goddamn good or really goddamn bad. So,
right.
And if y'all have been watching this season, you can imagine what we have to say. So, that being said, David, let's jump into serves. Who are you giving serves to?
I am giving some serves to Lydia Rising. You've got to think about it from a perspective and go through what actually happened. So, insider tea, not really tea, it's been out there. Lydia apparently finished campaign, finished season 17, had maybe a week, and then jumped right into All Stars. Now, obviously, recording, she probably had a few days after recording, started, or maybe a week after recording started to, like, because of the bracket thing, blah, 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 blah. But she jumped into this with just literally hopping off of a season. And sometimes, as we've seen in the past, that can really blow up in your face. And I am genuinely, with the exception of a couple of things, I'm genuinely enjoying Lydia's trajectory. I did love her on season 17, and for the most part, I'm enjoying her now. So brava to her and all of the work that she's did. The quick turnaround, I have to, like, wonder what all she had to do, how fast she had to get everything. Did she have some of this stuff already made? Did she, like, sit in a room for like 5 days and just sewing the shit out of stuff and making things? Or what? But whatever it was, my hat is off to her because she's impressed me in a lot of ways this season, this All Stars.
I would agree. She definitely knows what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's younger and like
Yeah.
hasn't been through the drag race, gauntlet as much as some of the other queens. I'm just gonna say this. Her like youth and flexibility, I think, are
Mm-hmm.
really helping her a lot.
Yeah.
Like
I think.
she's game strategizing, paying attention to like what's going on, and at the same time has no illusion to that she's gonna win. Like
Mm,
like this very last episode, she genuinely to me seemed shocked that she was in the top two.
I mean, yes. Yeah.
So um there's a part of me that's like, girl, haven't you figured it out yet? Rue really likes you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's, I think, the thing that she needs to understand a little bit. Um, and this is all tea. If you get on Rue's good side, you're kind of golden
Mm-hmm.
until you get on her bad side, and then you're. But
Well, and I think that's a double-edged sword because if Lydia is oblivious or not really pick up on the fact that she's like one of the blessed ones, then it's probably a good thing. Because I think once you figure it out, that might go to your head a little bit. Like you might think that
right,
like you don't have to work as hard or whatever.
right.
So
But I'm loving what she's doing. I'm loving what she did for the, like I keep saying, for the most part, because there's some shit. Um, but I was really happy with her arc these 3 episodes,
mhm,
and um, I'm looking forward to what she does next
mhm,
for sure.
yeah, no, I get it. For me, I'm gonna give serves to the Tina Burner rebirth.
Mm,
She she did not present well in her first season.
no.
I think she brought exactly what she was at that time in the New York scene. However, it doesn't translate well, I think, onto the drag race stage.
Right.
And so since then, she's done a lot of work and through that work has evolved and modified and changed and learned some things. And I think that that's done her really well. And
Hmm.
I'm really impressed with what she's brought. This very last runway, she came out and I was like, oh, okay. We brought this, did
Hmm.
we?
Hmm.
Um, I was super impressed
Yeah.
uh, with the outfit.
Yes.
Hair could have used a little change, but
I mean,
yeah. So I was really, really surprised by that.
I'm surprised she didn't do like a brown or a blonde. Just anyway, but that's just me. But yeah, I agree with you. I think I've really enjoyed her, like you said, rebirth, renaissance, whatever word you want to use, in this situation, in this group of girls. I've also really, hate to say it, been like, I wish that you had kept some of that fire that you had in the past and brought that into this competition. Because I feel like she had an idea of how this was going to go, and that's not at all how it went.
Right.
And I'm a little surprised, given she's been around the block for a while. She understands how, All Stars kind of works in a way, and her not really getting that kind of bothered me a lot.
Well, um, we'll come back to that. I have thoughts about Tina's playing of the game,
Okay.
quote unquote. And I'll try to explain later. Yeah,
I'm listening.
I think unfortunately what we're seeing is what we've seen before, and how a mindset and an expectation is sort of very concrete.
Yeah.
And that's not matching.
Mm.
This square peg is not fitting a round hole, so to speak. Oh, so with that being said, let's move on to swerves. Oh boy. Yes, Damon?
Lip syncs for your legacy? Question mark, question mark? Oh boy. How do I say this? No, we'll go shady. We'll be shady. I was not enjoying these lip syncs for this
Okay.
bracket. From song choice to like performance and what have you, maybe because of those song choices, they just weren't that good. I don't know. They just felt off.
Mm.
And it just didn't grab me like the lip syncs from the orange bracket. And I don't know if that's a me thing or a whatever. They just felt meh. And that's coming from like, oh, we did Chaperone Hot to Go with Chaperone Roan on the panel. And I was just like, is this the song to choose of
Well,
her repertoire of stuff?
I
Is
know
this
some
the
other
song to
people
choose?
commented on that they felt there were better songs to pick. There's also a part of me that's like, this was recorded last summer,
True.
so there may have been some what do we call them now? Do we still call them record companies? Entertainment conglomerates, like agents in the music
Mhm.
industry that are picking things.
True.
Like, so was there a thought that like, oh, by the time we get to when this airs next year, this will like this off of this album will be like one of the better tracks or
Mm,
something? And
maybe.
to me, that's super risky because you just don't know how that works in
True.
pop culture. Like, I've seen many a time someone's like, "Oh, this is the hottest new song," and then like, no offense, like the people of color and the gays, they're like, "Meh." Like, and it doesn't go anywhere, and so they're not playing in the club, it's not making the radio, like
Yeah,
it's not
that's
been
fair.
remixed. So
That's fair. And maybe that, like I said, I think maybe that's where I'm at with it. Maybe it's just that the songs didn't really get to me, and maybe the lip syncs weren't that great. Like that's another thing too. Um,
well, I wonder if some of the queens are not trying very hard in the legacy lip sync because they've already won and they've made it to top two. And so, yes, while one more point can be very helpful,
mm,
in this particular bracket, it very quickly became evident who was going to be the top half and who was going to be the bottom half.
mm,
When we got to the
that's
second
fair.
episode, it became really clear as to like how things were going to turn out.
Mm,
To me, it seemed that it was obvious that there was two, possibly three people who just were not going to make top three.
understood.
And so I feel like if you're in the top, especially this very last episode, if you're in the top and you know that you're basically a shoe-in by points, then you kind of don't care about the extra point.
Right.
Which is not me shading on the queens. I'm just saying, like, there's more to come you don't know quite what that's going to be, so you might not pull out all your tricks.
That's fair.
I don't know, but I hear you on that. Like it was all right. You know.
Oh, goody. Sorry. Random aside. I had some packages delivered right before the call started. And right during while we were starting the call,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, goody! I should get up." And I was like, "Nah." And then I went to look at the picture that they showed, saying that it's Amazon, showing that it would deliver, and they had put it right in front of the door, which is where they're not supposed to.
Right.
And I was like, "No, I had to get up and get it." But I just checked my live doorbell camera, and they moved it, so I'm happy. I don't know why he took the picture and then moved it, but whatever.
Maybe to show that it was actually delivered, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but they could do that anyway. It's fine.
Although
It just
that might be a protocol, because I know. I mean, I don't have an alternative place, but it is always definitively right in front of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, sidebar.
I tell them where to put it.
I'm sure you do.
Trust. Anyway.
All right, moving on. So let's talk about Nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking.
You didn't give your swerves, Mr. Gary.
Oh, sorry. I was so wrapped up.
You got distracted by Amazon.
I was wrapped up in your lip sync for your legacy perspective. Yeah. So, I don't like saying this, but it's NPB.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Nicole Page Brooks.
From Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes. And what I put in parentheses is the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proposing, I'm putting out there, because we already saw this happen with Phoenix, and I feel like it's happened again with Nicole Page Brooks. I'm calling it the old guard curse.
Mm.
And what I mean by this is these are queens of the very first 4 seasons,
right,
who have never been back,
right,
and so it's a whole different ball game. The competition, the show, the production, everything has changed so much. It is a detriment to them. They are out of sync, out of touch with where things are now, and so I'm criticizing World of Wonder for bringing them back. Now, you should have brought them back 4 or 5 years ago. You should have had at season 10, you should have had a first 5 seasons All-Stars only. You should have, because if they were to come back again, they would, in my opinion, be that much better prepared and know how the game plays, quote unquote, how to, be a contestant in the show. I think in both of their cases, they're bringing the best of them, but they've been doing so much for so long in a different arena. They don't know what HD cameras are like. They don't know what the stage lighting is like. They don't know the expectations of the judges. When Michelle Visage says things like, I need your drag to be bigger. I need your proportions to be this. I need your those are things that should have been said to you in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in All Stars. And it's a little disparaging at times to see what they bring and then compare them to the other queens.
Right.
Who have spent a lot of money, crafted some very specific things. Except for Lydia. And that's not a dig against Lydia. She's one of those queens who can basically make all sorts of shit out of anything. And and that's, I think, one of her fortes. She's not Georges, who's coming with Las Vegas money. So I feel like that's a factor. And it kind of hurts to watch it happen. I think it's cruel to see these classic first generation drag race contestants come back and they really they don't exactly have the best of time.
I feel this in a way. I'll talk a little bit more about Nicole later, but I
Hmm.
kind of get what you mean here that like they're coming in with a major disadvantage.
Yeah.
And even if they're like watching the show regularly, which who knows if they actually are, um, they're still at a disadvantage because they're not up to today's standards.
Hmm.
No shade for shade to like Nicole and Phoenix and whatever, but like the gigs that you do in the bars at your home in your hometown and the bars that you do, like maybe you travel because you were on RuPaul. The bar gig is so different, so different than the RPDR stage.
Yeah, and there's a whole different arena. Like if you moved into doing theater, if you did like mini tours, if you were doing clubs, if you're a producer now, like that's a whole different environment than being on the reality show
Right,
stage. And that's
right.
that's I think the key factor difference. Like yes, you've achieved a bunch of things and you're still out there doing the work and you've gotten better at it. You also haven't been doing this particular thing. So to
Right.
me, it's a little strange. It's kind of like, hey, I want you to come run this 5K.
Mm-hmm.
And what you've been doing is like awareness walks in your city.
Right.
So like, yeah, there's some parallel there. There's some similarity, but it's not the same thing. And I don't think your preparation for what you've been doing is the same thing that would help you here.
Yeah.
So that being said, um, I do have something else I want to say about Nicole, but I'll save it when we come back to you later about it because we might be on the same page. So,
All right.
that being said, we'll move on to Nerve now. David, what are you giving Nerve for?
I
I think I know what you're gonna say, but
Yeah.
I'm amused.
So I put roast through rap, and this is a good like nerve. It took a
Oh,
lot of nerve for the to me, this formula worked. Why? Because it was done. It was boom, 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 you're done. Boom, 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 you're done. Like you
oh,
said your things. There was no like waiting for an audience to laugh along with you. There was no, or to not laugh, which is even worse. You got to say whatever you wanted to fucking say,
mm-hmm.
get it out there in a fun format, and then you're done. And then you just react to whatever everyone else is saying to you.
Hmm.
I kind of liked it. I have We have seen roasts on this show,
Mm-hmm.
and I will own this. We've seen roasts in comedy shows and things like that where I am cringing because the jokes are so horrible. They're
Right.
so bad. Um, but just this sort of like like quick format. They obviously had to record it, pre-record it because they put it all together. So and that just made it just kind of sweet. So I'm giving nerve to like the fun quickness of the roast because it's bearable
Wow.
mostly. It sounds bad. I was thinking about it and I was just like, this was an interesting format. Do I want all of the roast to be raps? No. I think we're good. Like, let's. I appreciated the format, but
Mm-hmm.
like, because imagine like 8 queens or however many queens when they're at the point of doing a roast. Like, yeah, I'm good.
Um, wow. So you and I have different takes then. Because I didn't like it.
Oh,
I think all of your points are valid. I did not consider those specific items you brought up. So yes, I concede it's more concise. It moves along
mhm.
quicker. It gets you through things. potentially avoids the awkwardness of the audience not responding, the cringe factor, the crash and burn, although I think that's what people tune in for. That being said, I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. It felt weird. And of course it felt strange because it's new and it's different. New as in like different, like it's something we've seen before, but like
not in this way.
Yeah.
Not for a roast. Yeah.
So I do think it took nerve to like throw it in a blender and then pour it out in a different format. I don't think they performed it that well. And I guess that's the part, that's where I was like, ugh, like I didn't really care for it.
Again, like I was saying, like I appreciated it. It took nerve. I don't know if I would want to see this again, especially with on a regular season.
Yeah.
Mostly because you have to really know the girls to really make this work.
Well, there is some controversy about that. That the queens were told ahead of time before they arrived as to who they were roasting.
Right.
And then there was a slight complication because not many of the queens knew Lydia.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's the easy one to write through. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, really? Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Anywho. Oh, Gary. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean,
actually mute my microphone.
So for me, Nerve this go round is MIB, the ultimate villain. So Mistress Isabel Brooks definitively made a decision in playing this game that they gave no fucks about the consequences of their actions. And I am going to own this in the very beginning. It makes good TV. Because people are tuned in, people are talking about it, people are debating it, people are hating it. Like, so in that effort, it was effective. I don't know if it's worth your career. And that's the part that has really surprised me, that she may not have thought that part out, because she is consistent, like to the core, sticking to the principle of I'm great, I know I'm great, like I deliver great, and like there's nothing sticks to me. So okay. But it's a little bit of a mixed signal, girl, when if you really are that good, then why are you pulling stunts and shenanigans? I'm also going to say this. Your last runway look was atrocious. I was absolutely shocked. For those of you that aren't watching the video, you're missing Damon doing this whole like exchange of fans back and forth thing, what I'm saying. But like, I mean, honestly, she came walking out and I was like, what in the hell is that? And it got worse. The longer I looked at it and she walked, the more I found flaws. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like you actually are okay with wearing this. So yeah. Hella awkward.
Yeah.
And you decided when we got to the points. Now, we'll talk about this later about how the points thing went. But when we get to the points, you decide to own in front of the judges your dirty deed. And then you double down and call out another queen. And I'm like, okay. I'm not quite sure what that move was. Because actually, you didn't have to say any of those things. You could have just given.
There.
You could have just given your point.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to give no preamble. You didn't have to explain
Nope.
yourself. You didn't have to go
Nope.
through the soliloquy. Nobody asked
Mm-mm.
you for your solo. Like,
Nope. We
like
didn't need to hear anything from you. You could just shut the fuck up and just said your name or just turned the battle around and been done.
right. You could have just said Lydia. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
You could have said Lydia, my new daughter. Like, you could
Right.
have even gone that far or whatever. But yeah, the whole rest of that part, and I was like, whew, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like now the question for me is she the villain of all villains? Like, is she more dastardly, more devious, and more evil than any other queen in any other season? And I don't know if there's really an answer to that, but I'm like, if you think there's going to be a villains season,
Right.
you're kind of cementing your spot in it.
Right.
Anyways.
So yeah, fuck Miss Bell. Fuck Mistress Isabel Brooks. That's my like honest opinion. If you were to look at my notes, there are so many um like after episode 4, I have Mistress is a fucking cunt. Um I literally wrote this like a few times, especially in this last episode. So I was just like, there's no redemption after this. I'm gonna say that like right now. You have made the bed. I hope you're ready to lie in it. You could have done nothing. Instead, you went through and made this sort of like, again, like you said, it's very good for TV, but we all know like there's life after TV.
Right.
There's life after the show when those cameras go off. And I'm seeing you on like your social medias and doing all the things, and I get it. I just hope you understand that you're going to have to be the one that has to deal with the aftermath, the blowback, and you may not care, and that's fine. Um, but I know I'm never going to go see you in a show. I never want to see you in a show.
Right.
If you're part of the cast, it will prevent me from going to see that show. Like the only time I may sit and watch a show is if you're in the Vegas show and all the other girls are there and I've already paid for my ticket because I don't know who's going to be in the cast until I get there. I have no love for Mistress Isabel Brooks after the shenanigans of this bracket.
Right.
There were a few times where I was like, I don't even feel like watching the rest of this because that's how like bothersome it got me. From the shade in the top of the second episode with like you know getting the points from you and George just getting all the points and not giving them to anybody else and pulling the shenanigans. And I think the worst part, the other part for me is they all fell for it, and that's the worst part. Is the other queens sort of allowed it to happen. To the most recent part where she didn't have to say anything. I knew she wasn't going to give her point to Carrie.
Right.
She had no reason. Mathematics, I know we'll talk about it probably later. Math being the math, she could not give her point to someone who had more than 1 point without potentially pushing herself out of the running.
Yeah.
So, good luck on the rest of your future endeavors, Mistress, with whatever you may do. I don't think you're going to win this season. And if you do, I'm going to be really, really upset. I'm going to call it out right now. Just telling it like it is. I don't care for you.
Yeah. No,
And this was a perfect example of why.
yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I also agree. I don't think she's going to win. She's moving on in the bracket, but she also notably was in third place in this bracket. And so
by a few points.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. You ready to move on?
No shade for shade, but just yes, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. All right, so our next segment here is snaps and eye rolls, aka the highs and the lows. These are hits and misses specifically that we're going to focus on out of these most 3 recent episodes. Damon, who you giving snaps to?
Nicole Paige Brooks being iconic. I know we were just talking about her in the Old Guard legacy, but I fucking loved like the whole like I don't give a fuck, similar to Nicole Mistress in a way. I'm saying whatever the fuck she's saying, whatever the fuck she wants to say. She's not playing. I think because she had not been in the game for a while. You know, you don't know how to strategize. You don't know how to play the parts. You don't know all of the little ins and outs and subtle things that you can do. Nicole Paige Brooks is about as subtle as a heart attack. Just putting it out there. She is just the words she was saying, the things she would do on the show, just during the two in the workroom, like badge giving, you know, MBQ points. Her just like I'm the eldest, or just give me a point kind of thing. Just a blase da. Feel like fucking Pearl. Like that attitude and the fact that she like would say anything and everything to like Georges and Mistress. She gave no fucks, and I fucking loved it. And that goes to like in the detriment side of it, like, you know, I'm not gonna pull out a big hair. I'm gonna wear what I've always worn, and I'm gonna make an outfit and cut out stars that don't look nothing alike and just paste them onto this bodysuit. And that's gonna be great for the runway. Like just it and like just her like outfits for the runway were just like these are the things you wear to the club. She went to All Stars 10 with the shit she probably had made for the club, with a few exceptions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you on that. For me, I do agree with your statement that Nicole Paige Brooks is being iconic. Like, because she definitively is like, I am me. I don't give a shit what you think. Like, and I don't give a flying fuck about anything that's going on. Like, she started figuring out in episode 2, oh, this is how things go.
Right.
And instead of getting upset about it, she was like, all right, then I'm going to get all the camera time that I need. Like, I'm going to earn my check because I am already here. I am already in the midst of this, like, fakakta thing that's going on. So I'm just going to, like, I'm going to give a lot of, like, statements. I'm going to give a lot of face. I'm going to, like, you know, do all these things without necessarily acting a fool.
Right.
And that's the part that I very much appreciate about her. I agree, even though I think like it is a disservice that she's been out so long. On the other flip side of it, baby, she is like, I have a reputation. I will fulfill this reputation. And for what I've been seeing, a whole bunch of queens are like, that would be NPB. Like there is no doubt about it. Like that is who she is 24/7. End of story. So that part of it, I agree with you. I'm like you got to give her all the snaps for being so true to who she is.
True to who she is. And I think that's the best part of it was, maybe she put some money into it. Maybe she put a lot of effort into it and it just wasn't enough. Maybe that's what it was. And maybe that's not the greatest thing to do, but again, she walked the runway like this was haute couture. Like this was the best fucking thing you've ever seen in the world. Like she gave that presence. And when she got to her critiques about I want your hair to be bigger during the Rappin roast, she wore that big fucking hair.
Well, I mean, that made me laugh because she was like, fine, I'll wear the biggest fucking hair I brought with me. And I was like, okay, girl. And she did.
Yep.
She wore some huge ass hair. Like, probably too big. But, like, it was so funny. So funny.
Yes. I just got to give it to her. Got to give my snaps. Got to give her the snaps because that was truly amazing to watch. Truly amazing to watch.
Yes, I would agree. Very much so.
How about you, Gary?
So I want to give snaps to two of the queens in this particular bracket, Carrie Colby and Tina Burner.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because I think they were actually competing. I think they came legitimately to win All Stars. And that is not what is happening. Because production isn't following a standard contest setup where things make sense and the progress is obvious in terms of like who's winning, who's getting the points, and who advances. And so this is where I was kind of saying earlier about like with Tina, like I think she very earnestly, honestly came back with an intention to win and figured out in episode 2 and going in episode 3, oh, that's not what's going on here. So she's the most excited about the wild card bracket thing that comes later, which she can be if you carefully pay attention to the words. RuPaul says each of the main judges will select someone for the wild card like slot. So the way I interpret it was like there will be 4 judges that will select 4 people. Amongst those 4, someone will become the wild card, not all of them.
Correct. That's kind of what I'm getting to.
Unless the 4 of them as wild cards go against each other in their own bracket.
Right.
And then it would be like 2 versus 2 becomes 2 versus each other to become the 1. And then that one is the one that slides into the semis. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah. It's hard to say. And that's sort of the good and bad of it. Like, I don't know how this is going. And that's like, I'm excited to know, but I'm also like, I would like to know, please.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think Carrie and Tina really came back with the intention of like, I'm going to do All Stars and I'm going to like win. And for whatever reason, it was decided that they weren't going to go far.
Well, to me, it's a really weird echo of the very first All Stars. When they got put into teams of 2, into duets or duos, and that like shook everything up. And I feel like this tournament style with the points like in the pins is a shakeup similar to that. specifically for these two queens, because while they probably understood or knew that there was going to be a tournament before they fully returned, they didn't realize how it was actually going to potentially play out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, is it Tina? She makes a comment about, like, I didn't know this was going to be a tournament of alliances.
Mm-hmm.
Or a competition of alliances or contest of alliances. And I was like, dope. I was like, she nailed it. She called it out.
Mean, where's the lie? Like,
well, right, and that's just it. And I think that's the part that's irritating, is that has become such a dynamic factor in this bracket.
Right.
Because it didn't in the first one.
Yeah.
To this degree. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in the third one. And I am very intrigued because, to our knowledge, none of these brackets have been interacting with each other. Like, they don't even know about each other yet. So if they've all been successfully sequestered, we're going to go through another 3 episodes for another bracket, and then they're going to start coming together. And the T is when the shit starts getting talked about what happened in their bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because it is Lydia and Georges and MIB, I don't know if they're going to say exactly what happened in their bracket, because none of them are butthurt about the circumstances.
Right.
And I know some people might feel a certain way about Lydia, but I'm not defending her, but I am going to say this. She's playing the game. Her eye is on the prize.
Yeah.
And so I'm not endorsing it, but I understand you're going to be the evildoer? Okay. like you want to be the devil? Have at it. If it happens to help me and I'm in your periphery, well, and I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I recognize it. I'm like, I get it. You're trying to win the game. She's trying, quote unquote, to win the game, but she's actually just making a mess. But
I mean, that's so fucking true, and I think that's part of the, I don't want to say unconcern or misconcern, but I want to know the next part of this.
Yeah,
I want to know, like, what are we doing now that we have the 3 brackets of semifinalists? Are we putting them all together? Are we just doing, what are we doing? Right. And then where are we going from that? We know eventually there's going to maybe be like 2 or 3 or something like that, because we got to get to that point.
Right.
But I'm very, very curious.
Yeah. What would be good in my brainstorming, in this very moment when you said that, is it would be good if all 3 brackets, when they move on, they shake the whole thing up again.
Right.
So if there's 9 queens, you shuffle them up and you break up the 3 groups and you make them new groups of 3 that are not in your original bracket, which means Georges and MIB and Lydia get split up. And so they can't be that team anymore. I mean, I'm also feeling petty, like something should happen specifically to MIB that she loses points, but that's just me. So, anyways.
Yeah, I want to say the only thing that not bothers me, but like Jim and I were talking about this after the episode, and we were like, there's no one that's going to be able to tell the other queens until like the wild card. So if, say, like Tina or Carrie or Nicole, I doubt, but if one of them becomes the wild card spot, they're going to be the only ones that are going to probably say anything about the shenanigans and buffoonery that happened during their bracket.
Guaranteed. 100% Tina will say something.
Oh, for sure.
Carrie will probably say something, but she won't blurt it out immediately. She will probably be a little sultry, speculative, and strike when the moment is appropriate.
Right.
Because I think she feels scorned and she's like, oh, okay. This is how you want to play?
If if her confessional was any indication of how she feels,
Mm-hmm.
oh, she pissed.
Right.
Rightfully so.
Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right. So for eye rolls, I guess I'm going first.
Yes. Calling it like it is.
Well,
I
this is
said
where
she below.
this is where Damon and I are in lockstep, I guess. I said production's pushing. And what I meant by that is that production is so heavy-handed now. And the key thing for me was, yes, the final MVQ points have to be done live on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It also was about the order that they were standing in.
Yep.
So Mistress went last.
Mm-hmm.
And they all wanted her to go first.
Mm-hmm.
Like of the other three queens, they wanted her to go first. Actually, well, they said if it was her or Georgia's that didn't make it, that had to give out MVQ points, they wanted them to go first.
Right.
And so I don't think production changed anything. I think it ran the same way it did in the first bracket. However, the lineup is where things fell apart.
Right.
So, because they weren't in alpha order.
Nope.
So, you know what I mean? So it was definitively messy in that production handled it a very specific way. And it became incredibly understandable that Mistress was not going to keep her word and give her a point to Carrie. So it was kind of super obvious to me she was going to give it to Georges or she was going to give it to Lydia. There was no way in hell she was going to lose her opportunity to advance.
No. Hi all. Mathematician. Here we go. Let's start. Let's go. So, starting before the winners were announced,
Mm-hmm.
we knew Tina had 2 points, Carrie had 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Mistress had 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
So, the only thing that was keeping her safe was that half a point.
Right.
Which I'll get to separately in a second. Therefore, she knew going in the only way she stays in the bracket is if none of the two, Carrie and Tina, get more than 2 points. Because there's no way that they can get. The only way they're going to get 3 is if 3 people give points. So everyone else has to give them a point to beat her. All three of the bottom 3 have to give either Tina or Carrie a point.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it was Georges, even if it was Lydia that were in the bottom, they would have had to given somebody with 2 points, all 3 points to win. There was no way that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we end up with the situation that we're at, which is where Mistress knows she's in no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
If she had wanted to be a really fake bitch, which I'm a little surprised she didn't do, she could have given her point to Nicole.
Right.
She could have been you could have said your spiel about I'm righting a wrong from the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
from the first whatever, and been like, I give a point to someone who I wronged, and I want to like make things right, and I want to do what feels good at the time, and then giving your point to Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Brooks for life. I would have maybe applauded at that moment. I'm like, oh, okay.
But all right. But I saw your face just now. Would that have felt genuine though to watch
No,
that happen?
No.
Right.
It was fake as fuck. It would have been fake as fuck.
Right. Right.
But it would have been not would have been. It's an even deeper dig
Yeah.
than giving it to Lydia.
Yeah.
Because you're now also saying, I'm willing to give my point to the girl, even though I know she's not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could have made Nicole feel bad for not giving you a point. And making the
Nicole wouldn't have felt bad. Nicole would not have felt
true,
bad.
True, fact though. But
Nicole
like,
would have been like, "Thank you very much."
True.
That's the end of that.
Like a true Southern gal. Like,
yes.
but like it just the way Mistress gave the point away was so unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't have to say a word. You should have just given it to Lydia or Georges and just been done with it. Because you knew you were going to win. Like, you knew you were going to like move on. The only way it was going to happen is if 3 people gave someone point. One of the people that had 2 points a point. Because of that stupid fucking half point. And we're going to talk about that. I said I was going to talk about that. Fuck production and their fucking bullshit with like suddenly we're going to have a tie and they're going to get half a point. And not only that, like, why?
And the winner is... We have a tie! Tie? Oh my God. What you mean tie?
It just was, and all tea. Georges beat Mistress out of that lip sync. You know it. I know it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird to say that they tied. I was like,
Even weirder.
I was like, that was a tying lip sync?
Yeah. Even weirder to me that they were the top 2 of the Rappin' roast. Just calling it out there.
Right.
No shade for shade.
Right.
To me, it was Lydia and Nicole.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
It was Lydia and Nicole. Maybe Lydia and Tina. Again. Like, the best roast were those. Mistresses was meh. Georges just looked pretty because she can dance.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have won that. And then, oh, we're gonna like do this bullshit shenanigans of, oh, they get to share the point.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have this half a point, which is a harder deficit to overcome. Because you essentially have to get 2 points to overcome it.
Yeah.
Point and whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, So production, you got some shady bullshit to go on. If we're going to have ties, we better have multiple ties. There better be another tie somewhere else because if we're just going to have this one tie now, I'm going to have some things to say.
Well, okay, so speaking of consistency, let's talk about minis.
Mm-hmm.
We got minis and mains. We got mini wins and main stage wins. How many mini wins were there in bracket number 2?
None.
Correct. But there were 2 in bracket number 1, and Irene got both of them.
That's right.
So what's up with that?
Mm.
This was the thing I predicted when they announced it was going to be a tournament and there were going to be brackets. And I was like, and it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be equitable because you're not duplicating or triplicating across the board for every single bracket. They get the exact same thing.
Right.
And I understand from a production standpoint, we can't do the same challenges in each bracket exactly because that would probably be a little boring. So we have to change them up. So that's why we haven't seen any of the queens do the exact same thing.
Right.
But that being said, I'm like, so yeah, no consistency. Got it. No mini wins. We've got a tie. Like, you know what I mean? It's just... So, I mean, of all the seasons, it is super evident that production's going to do what they want.
Yeah.
And we're just here to watch and see who they decide is worthy of moving on.
Right.
Now, that being said, I don't feel that Nicole would have won this bracket.
No.
And I do think Lydia deserves to be in the 3 that moves on.
Mm-hmm.
Georges has had a very well put together package.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But I think production is playing the personality game. Who gives good TV, who, you know, fulfills certain slots or whatever, and somebody's got to be the baddie. So,
it's like, okay, I'll put it like this: in bracket 1, I really enjoyed the format. I wasn't a big fan of like I loved Irene, and I'm glad we got that because that was a really good like arc for someone who literally went home first, is the lowest ranked queen like ever, kind of thing. It was a really good thing to see. This arc, this bracket felt the opposite of that. This felt like we want these 3 queens to move on.
Yeah.
So we're going to make these 3 queens move on. And good thing we have the one who has no cares and will do whatever the fuck she wants or can to win. Like that's Mistress. We know that's what she'll do. She's going to play shady. She's going to do what she needs to do because that's all she wants to do. I know shade. Well, actually, I will call this shady. I don't believe her delusion that she thought she would have won her season. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are. There was no one in that season that was going to beat Sasha Colby. Point blank, period.
Right. Yeah.
And I knew that from the moment she walked into the fucking workroom.
Right.
Anyway, that being said, this bracket in particular made me lose faith in this being a potential future like season thing. I have a feeling that's what they're going to do in the future because I've heard that through the grapevine that that's what they're going to do for the next All Stars. I hope not, but I'm not as invested as I was after bracket 1. We'll see what bracket 3 does.
Right.
Because there's some pretty decent queens in that bracket that I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for their 3 episodes. But yeah, production, your heavy fucking fist in this particular bracket almost made me stop wanting to watch.
Yeah. I get it. You feel better?
I feel better.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where these next 3 episodes go because, to your point, like we had one bracket that I think a lot of people felt really good about and enjoyed, was entertained by, and then we had a whole bracket that felt like a bunch of drama that was manufactured in several different ways. And like, here's the way I feel about it. I don't care about this bracket moving on, except for Lydia. Because I don't think she deserves to be painted with the same brush as Mistress and Georges.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. Anyways, that being said, we'll be back in a couple weeks. We're going to go through another bracket. We're going to see how this plays out. Who knows what lies ahead in this case.
Right.
If you have thoughts, you can share them with us. You can go visit our blog, cubsoutloud.com. You can send us an email, cubsoutloud@gmail.com. You could also leave us a voicemail and give us a call. 361-COL Talk. That's 361-265-8255. You could also search on social media platforms, type in Cubs Out Loud. If you want to join the entourage for the chat on Telegram, you go to tinyurl.com/telegram-COLDR. If you want to know about when we're going to be doing the regular main shows live over broadcasting to YouTube, usually on Sunday evenings, you can go to tinyurl.com/calendar-COL. If you want to support us, Cubs Out Loud Drag Race happens to have some merch items available at zazzle.com/cubsoutloud. Damon right now is showing off our two-tone pink interior and handled coffee mug. In case you want to sip some real tea. It has the Cubs Out Loud Drag Race logo on it. He also happens to be fashionably wearing the baby blue t-shirt with the same design on it. I happen to be wearing a shirt from our Whatever line that we came up with recently. It's a big comic speech bubble. This one happens to say, "Whatever the queen say these days." Yes, mama. House down boots. So yeah. You can purchase those items there. You can also become a patron. You can go to patreon.com/cubsoutloud for $1 or more a month. You can join on there and be supportive of us, help keep the lights on, as we like to say. You can also just make a donation one time. You can go to paypal.me/cubsoutloud, and we would greatly appreciate the tip. That being said, you can also find us online pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. Just type in Cubs Out Loud Drag Race. You can download. We have our own RSS feed here for just these as audio portions. There's also a playlist on YouTube if you just want to watch the COLDR portions. Damon, if people want to get in touch with you, how would they do so?
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me as TheaterCub79 on most related sites. You can find me as Pup Umbra79 on Blue Sky, or you can find me as DMA. That's not for safe work. For safe work stuff, you want DMA Gamer on Blue Sky or TikTok.
Okay. If you want to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as GareBear73. And with that, we'll be back after the next bracket, the purple bracket, which is going to have Acid Betty, Alyssa Hunter, Cynthia Lee Fontaine, Miss Cuckoo herself, Diabetti, Denali, and the Glamour Toad, Ginger Minge. We'll see you all then, babies.
See you then.